I just got back from a Gamblers Anonymous meeting last week. And the first guy gets up there and says, wow, I had to come back in because I'm thinking about betting preseason football. But that's right around the corner, and the temptation will be dangling out there. And I'm sure the FanDuel people would love to tempt you into thinking that this was something you could make a score on. I don't know that it is. And the man who would probably be on the opposite side of that argument joins us right now from outpick.com. And, of course, Monster when it comes to any kind of NFL insight information. He's the number one guy. Mr. Jason Cole joins us here on the program. Jason, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I always thought that betting on preseason football is, without question, the lowest form of degeneracy.
You're talking to our audience here. That's saying a lot. We were betting Korean baseball during the pandemic. Yeah.
Knowing the audience for the show, I think that's pretty simple.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Sheer handicapping brilliance, Lubie. Sheer handicapping brilliance. Are we off to a hot start?
Was I right?
For the weekend or what, Mike Lubie Lubitz? 18-18. Some people would look at that. Philadelphia and the Browns.
Yeah, that's fine.
Preseason game and would say, oh, God, what trick. They don't even bother going to penalty kicks to decide this thing. Why don't you just wheel out Messi and let him kick one into the goal? 18-18, a draw, a tie. It's like kissing your sister. And yet it was a glorious moment in the history and the development of our preseason degenerate enterprise.
You said the Browns. That's the first leg of the parlay. We did say the Browns. It covered.
Who were the other two legs? We went against the Dolphins. I forgot who we picked. I was so excited last night. I couldn't believe it. We got a safety to start the game. A safety early in the game. 2 free points. Thank you very much, gods of gambling. Thank you. I hope you won several dimes on this thing, my friend.
Jets, Dolphins, and Jets. It was Dolphins because the Texans are bad and they're going to play Stroud more. That was my idea. And then the Jets because Wilson's going to play a lot and Wilson gives a shit and has to save his career. That was
Hack is looking to put some film together that other teams can look at. All of a sudden, he's got a video resume, my friends. Maybe this guy doesn't suck. That is really the theory in reverse, though, where you have the aging veteran acing out the young guy that supposedly has massive potential that you traded up in the draft to get to number 2 just a couple of short years ago.
Yep.
And it was Flame Out City. You saw some moments of brilliance. Probably, I mean, Zach Wilson's greatest attribute is his ability to attract older women that happen to be babes. Right? His mother is a hot commodity. Not that I'm, suggesting that I have any sexual interest in his mother, but I have seen a couple of pictures, and she's like a gorgeous babe. Yes. And all of her friends are just smoking hot. I mean, it's like you're looking at the Housewives of Orange County or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're a little hideous, I think. Well, once you get to the Housewives level, when you're on the Housewives show.
The girlfriend shows are okay.
No, you end up with like grouper lips. You don't know if you're at a Gucci shop or a fish market. It's unbelievable. They used to kill me, man, when I was on I was visiting various watering holes on ladies' nights when I was traveling around fighting unattached. And, you'd go out there and you say, my God, I mean, I want to be a plastic surgeon in this town. Boca, especially eyelids, lips, cheeks, chins, noses.
Oh, my God.
Everybody had the Dr. Diamond nose job from Long Island. That was crazy at Syracuse University. You could, pass people on the quad when you were going, the occasion when I used to just walk around on the quad between classes, even though I wasn't going to a class, just to catch the, collegiate drift. Did you get into that at all, Lubie? People are kind of moving around and, it'd be like 10:50 when a class would let out and then everybody's Zooming. A lot of people are Zooming to other classes, whereas I was heading for the gym to see if anybody was around to play 3-on-3. That was it. Did you attend classes when you were at Florida State? You did? You went to some classes?
Every class. I didn't like skipping class because I hated reading the book.
So did I. I mean, both. I was a 0.0 on both of those
I took really good
exercises.
I studied.
Oh, you did? You studied? You actually studied in school?
In college, I studied. In high school, I didn't. In college, I studied pretty strongly. And in grad school, I studied. It was literally my job was school.
Grad school? Oh, my God. I did no work in high school. I mean, nothing. I did attend classes there because it was pretty hard to skip. And in college, I don't know. I think I might have gone my entire junior year without seeing the quad. That was the year I was trying to decode the fix at Vernon Downs. Speaking of a degenerate Friday, which it is, and we got off to a rocking start. All right, so we have to root home what? We have to root home the Jets.
Yes.
Thinking that Zach Wilson is going to go out there and shine once again.
Mm-hmm.
The theory, and we gave it to you from the Barry America campaign, Action Sports, and the guy was on the money again. They've actually been posting a couple of winners lately. Said take the Browns last night plus the 3 and a hook, based on the fact that the Browns have better backup quarterback play than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that the Philadelphia Eagles were not going to. Obviously, you didn't see Deshaun Watson or in the game, Jalen Hurts. So they're both on the sidelines. And speaking of Hurts, I don't know. I mean, it comes up every now and then. This has been a discussion lately, unfortunately, in one of our favorite sports. If not, I don't know that I would consider it my favorite sport of all sports. But how much do I love thoroughbred racing, Lubie? My entire life, I've just always loved it. And yet, it's a little hard to condone at different times, right? Not a little hard. I mean, it's actually, something that you should be morally wrestling with almost every day.
The horse is dying, and I get it. There's not always some mythical thing. Like if a horse breaks their leg, it's sad, but that still sucks.
Yes.
That sucks. Like,
and you would have to say that were these horses not subjected to the strenuous nature of running 40 miles an hour for a mile and an eighth, a mile and a quarter, whatever, on a regular basis, and doing this every 4 or 5 weeks now. I mean, they space out the races a little bit more than they used to. I do believe that there is a genuine love from the people in the game for the animals by the large and vast majority of the people that are involved in the sport. And yet, you consistently find yourself just shrugging your shoulders and going, oh, well, another stakes horse went down. And we're seeing it all too frequently. Very hard to condone. And on the basis of, and we've discussed this many times, and I think, the theory, has considerable merit, which is, look, these are animals that they don't make the choice to go out there and take the risk to make tons of money. Whereas a boxer, a football player, I think at this stage, it's very hard to watch football and just sit there like in the Gladiator movie where they're just wheeling bodies out of the stadium and everybody's like, all right, way to go, Joe. Okay, throw the ball now. Like the guy's not even, into the tunnel yet. And people are already screaming, yelling for the next play as if just to summarily dismiss the idea that we just carted off a guy that wasn't moving his extremities on a stretcher. Yeah.
Like, so does it make me bad that like we've talked about this? I feel bad for the horses. I don't feel bad for the humans because they know now maybe they didn't in the 80s or the 70s, but now they know what they're facing. They know what they're dealing with, and they're highly rewarded. And I'm not saying that none of these people wouldn't have careers in real estate or in science where they'd make good money. I don't think any of them would make hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, nobody's making that kind of money doing anything else for the most part. I mean, who's making like $10 million a year, and you're a scrub coming off the bench in the NBA.
Well, but that's what I'm saying exactly. So like there's a risk reward. So I don't actually feel so. I don't what that says about me, but I don't feel so bad because they're making a choice on their own volition to do this. The horses are the ones we've talked about where it's like I don't think they're choosing this.
No,
like,
I don't think Secretariat really knew exactly what was going on. I mean, did the horse? They always try to attach some kind of human characteristics to these animals. Yeah, you could tell he knows he's coming out there. He's putting on a show, which certain animals may display, occasionally characteristics like that. But I'm not sure. And the horse, of all animals, is among the dumber of animals, supposedly. Yeah, big heads, small brains. Like most of my well, no, I can't say that. I mean, I know a lot of smart people. I think that only applies to me. Big head, I don't even really have a big head, but small mind, that's for sure. It's still hard to watch, Lubie, is it not? I mean, I kind of was thinking, my God, this is awful. This guy laying on the field there, he ended up. I think he's going to be okay. I don't know. The final diagnosis wasn't necessarily conclusive yet, but and the name of it's funny, you don't even think about it, right? Trace Cleveland. What was the guy's name? Tyree Cleveland.
Okay. Oh,
You
yeah.
see that play?
Yeah, that's nice.
It didn't look like anything happened there. It was kind of like the Dale Earnhardt crash, where you're looking at going, that didn't look like much. You've seen guys flip over 10 times into the crowd in a auto race. Tires are flying, cars on fire, and the guy gets out. Wait, okay, am I right? Yeah, big fat guy like Kaylee Arbor, right? Can barely even get out of the car because you can't open the doors. And then you see that. I don't know if you remember that Dale Earnhardt accident at the Daytona 500, where he ultimately perished. Didn't look like anything, right? Looked like a fender bender on the Palmetto.
Oh yeah, the actual accident he passed from was the most weak accident ever. Like you would have thought he would have kept racing that race.
Right, peel himself off the wall, curse out the guy that crashed into him, and then whoop. Well, look at that. Dale went on to take the checkered flag. That's his 5th Daytona 500. What a job by American legend here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He wins again.
Yeah, honestly, sad, but yeah.
No, it wasn't Junior. That was Dale Earnhardt.
That was his father. Yes, the original senior. Yes.
All right, very good. I know that was a time I remember why. For like a rare time, I actually like stuck on a car race for a little while.
Yep.
And I remember seeing that, and I believe it was it Darrell Waltrip? Well, one of the Waltrips, I believe, was one of the commentators. And I distinctly remember him saying, whoa, those are the kind of incidents that somehow, more often than not turn out to be far more tragic than the big fiery crash. And I'll never forget, who was was there a commissioner of NASCAR at the time, and kind of a big guy, big Southern guy, and what would you expect? And he said, sorry to tell you guys, but we've lost Dale Earnhardt. I was like, what? The guy died in that crash? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it was weird.
But that it's of their own volition, I don't know that it still makes it any less painful to watch somebody get carted off the field like that and then realize that, it may as well be Russell Crowe following the guy right out of the chute there. How smart was he, huh, in the Gladiator movie?
Yeah.
When he always let that one guy go first.
Yeah,
he put his hands on his shoulders, like he was a trainer of a fighter. And they were marching to the ring there, and that guy would get smacked in the face with a spiked steel ball right out of the chute. It was kind of like watching, some of my horses start races out of the gate where they go to their knees right away and pray. Like, is the jockey still on? Is there a way to get beat? I'll find it. All right, but we didn't last night. We came up with a winner, and I hope you guys cashed on this. What do you think, Louis? Did people take our advice? We were all over the Cleveland Browns last night, +3 and a hook.
The Eagles look like shit. I know it's only backups, but Jesus, they were rough. Mariota sucks.
I never was a big fan of Mariota.
What happened to Mariota? Oh my God, I actually was. I thought he was going to be legit. He's oof. God damn,
Colt McCoy is probably a better quarterback, than Marcus Mariota
in the NFL. Yeah, God, Mariota.
That's hard to say. Mariota, no, what would you say his NFL career? I don't know that you would deem it a total flame out, but what did he have? He had like one or two seasons where he gave rise to hope that maybe he could do it at this level.
And they went to the playoffs, I guess, a couple years, I think, because they were like their defense.
Unimpressive, really though, in terms of his throwing accuracy and just about everything that you would look for in a quarterback. All right, well, we get to see some action. We may see some Tua, supposedly, according to Mike McDaniel.
After yesterday with Armstead, I don't know if I want Tua to go.
Oh, and Armstead now, maybe make it to week number 1? Is that the way? Fine. I mean, when your guy's leaving the field on crutches, that's never good. Never mind. I don't know how he left the field, but he's on crutches later on, and it looked like his leg looked like he was walking more awkwardly than Chester from Gunsmoke. Did you see this guy in the clip?
They carted him off, so that's always the dream. And then he was seen leaving on crutches. It was like, oh, okay.
But, did you see his right leg that got hurt? Because if that's his good leg, that isn't so swift.
No, he couldn't put weight on it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what you want to hear. Like Ramsey could put weight on it and is out till December. It's like, this guy can't be out till December. This team is good.
Let's see. You've lost the cornerback that you traded half your franchise's draft picks for. And the left tackle, who is the only guy that, he's one of like 2 guys on your offensive line core that has any reliability and or ability, period. And both of those guys now are very much in question. Ramsey, we know, is out. And if he comes back in December, great. By then,
who knows?
The Buffalo Bills will be 3 games up in the AFC East, my friend. I can assure you. All right, we're coming back with more. The Greek going to join us. We have our usual cast of characters on a Degenerate Friday, so looking very much forward to that. The Greek going to join us here. He's a big advocate of betting preseason games, and I would imagine, I don't know, did he have Chinese Taipei last night? Little League World Series? You tell me that they're not printing phony birth certificates in China.
Did you see the one kid that was like 6'3"? The one kid was taller than the ref. And he rocked it. Ken and I were like, oh, of course he gets a home run.
That fastball was the equivalent of 127 miles an hour if you were pitching off a major league rubber.
Get the shit out of
What? Perfect game by Chinese Taipei. You don't tell me that they're all on the level there. I mean, Danny Almonte, looks like he was an infant compared to some of these kids.
The kid was giving an interview after, and he was like the most. It was like, well, when I was out there
smoking a cigarette,
hard, and it's like, dude.
He's got a scotch. He looks like Charlie Huff. I'll never forget Charlie Huff, man. It was the opening Marlins spring training camp in Melbourne. It wasn't even Melbourne. What was the actual city that they were in? It was like some schminky outpost of Melbourne.
It's off of Melbourne, yeah, because now they're Jupiter, but they used to be Melbourne.
We went to some bar in Melbourne. I swear they're staying in a hotel. Vieira, it was called. Vieira.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Vieira for any other reason? Vieira, Florida? Where the fuck is that? I don't know. I remember seeing Charlie there. There was one sports bar. There was a sports bar in a hotel, the team hotel. They were at some Marriott. There weren't that many hotels there to choose from. This was a nice joint. And Scotty Mack was my producer at the time. We're down there doing a show. We were on from 6 to 8 on WIOD. So this was the big thing. We were going to get the jump on the preseason there, the exhibition season, and go to the Marlins training camp and get all of this insightful stuff. First year of the team. Everybody's excited. The radio station was in a panic. We used to carry Yankee games on WIOD. Yankee games, and they drew massive ratings. Were there no television sets in Miami at the time? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Yankee games used to draw like a 9 share or something, some ridiculous number by radio standards. And they were in a panic because QAM had just come into being the all sports station. They were going to go all sports. And they had the rights to the Marlin games. And the program director, a guy named Gary Bruce, was in a complete and total panic. So he sends us up there under instructions to make sure that we just absolutely blow away whatever QAM does. Now we have no assets to do it with, right? I mean, it's just me and another guy, and the other station sends like 40 guys, up there, and they've got staffs. And Chris Visser was the program director, believe it or not, of QAM at the time. So you know how relentless he is on this stuff. Make sure none of them go over there. No, he wasn't like that, but... But anyway, and I remember I'm looking at this guy, an old guy, and I'm thinking, wow, that's great, man. Here's some old geezer baseball fan like me. I was young at the time, but I mean, like I would be now, still a baseball fan, like Ira the Met fan. And he's up here watching spring training, and look at that. He's enjoying a cigarette and a scotch. You could still smoke indoors back then, 1993. And then I realized, holy shit, that's Charlie Huff. He looked like Burgess Meredith. He was our opening day starter.
You're like some old dude.
Look like some old geezer that was retired and went to Melbourne. Says, yeah, you know what? These prices down here are killing me in Miami, man. Like my friend Francesco up there playing tennis. He asks me every day, hey, when are you coming up here? I'm thinking, never.
He said,
I love you to death. You're a great American, Francesco.
No, it sucks up there. You're like, good for him. Good for that guy. He still has it.
Beautiful. Two condos on the beach. I think Luca Panici, the jockey, bought one. Friends with my buddy. Saw what was going on in Melbourne and said, are you kidding me? You can live like this up here? The problem is when you look around, it's a fucking ghost town.
There.
Yeah. I mean, the big attraction is the dog track, which has been closed.
Yeah, exactly.
There's your entertainment. All right, we're coming back with more here in a moment. We'll find out. I don't know if the Greek had Chinese Taipei to get a perfect game yesterday.
I don't
think he bet that? I mean, I would imagine that was a prop, right? You could bet Chinese Taipei, perfect game, probably is on the board at, 3-2 for every game? Very low. I mean, that's ridiculous. Some of these guys, I guess what? What age should they take young Chinese kids into the military? 14?
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't know.
Half of these guys, yeah. I mean, they're in the Little League so they could dodge being in the Army. What were you talking about? It's a form of draft dodging. I mean, it was just like when we were thinking about going to Canada back in the day. All right, we're coming back with more here on the Defo Show. Degenerate Friday underway. We got you off to a rocket start for the weekend with our pick, and this was our 5-star double
Yes.
seal gold wheel super exacta special of the century,
Yes.
and that was the Browns getting 3.5 yesterday. Based on, I tell you, who impresses me a little bit. I don't know. This guy was vastly overlooked. Dorian Thompson Robinson,
Yeah, the quarterback.
DTR, UCLA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't he good last year at UCLA? He was a good quarterback, no?
He was supposed to be good, and then he was up and down.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think he's been impressive before, and he was all right in this game. 13 out of 25, 164 yards. So this guy in the Bury America campaign actually was on the money about something. The backup quarterbacks for the Browns, who were the backup quarterbacks? They had a guy named Tyler McKee in there. Tanner McKee.
No, they had Mariota, and then
Mariota, and then Tanner McKee. Mariota was horrible.
Mariota sucked. Tanner McKee was all right. I think he actually engineered a touchdown drive. Mariota sucked. Mariota is so bad. Oh, my God.
Actually, the pass that this guy got hurt on, the guy McKee had made 2 straight throws where he literally had very little chance of getting it into the hands of his receiver, who was well covered, and he hit him in the hands both times. It was an interesting display of either blind luck or accuracy there. But he hit Tyree Cleveland in between like a couple of guys, and Cleveland had a chance to catch the ball, and he just made a pass very similarly on the other side of the field prior to that. So it didn't look half bad, I guess. We'll never see him play, right? Do you expect to see much Tanner McKee during the season? If you do, then the Philadelphia fans, they'll be choking on their cheesesteaks there at Geno's and Pat's. Unreal. I wish I could think of the name of the place, too, that all of the Philadelphians that we talked to, because Mustang and I were doing an informal survey about where to get the best cheesesteak.
You were in AC, I mean.
No, we were in Philadelphia. We drove over to Philadelphia for a day. We thought we would do something different, which is really stupid when you're on a casino trip. Don't ever take a side trip when you're on a casino trip or at a casino destination. Don't let the woman in your life talk you into it. This is advice for all of you degenerates out there, and you all know of what I speak. Right? You're on the Strip in Las Vegas. How often you get out there when you live on the East Coast? If it's a couple of times a year, that's gigantic.
Yeah, I've only been twice in my life. Yeah, Shirley's never even been.
Don't send me off to Red Rock Canyon to go climb in the desert heat and see if we can see any snakes. I don't care about that. What am I, in the closing scenes of The Sopranos? I don't want any part of that shit. Just leave me alone. Let me go to the race book there. I'll sit there. I'll bet Belterra. I'll be fine. And one good thing. I mean, that may be the main reason our marriage has lasted. The Mustang and me, because we do the exact same thing. We have no issue with just completely separate. Like, I don't even have the car in the hands of the valet parker, and the Stang's already on a machine. And she knows I'm going straight upstairs to the race book or wherever it's located. So, and we might see each other, we might not see each other until I get that text knowing she's out of money, and she says, "You want to get some food?" I got a $50 comp. So, yeah, but it cost us $400. We could have gone to Joe's Stone Crabs for this money and had money left over. Go get some ice cream there on South Beach. All right, we're coming back with the Greek in a moment. And then the professor will have another big board for you. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, in fine form. How did that go yesterday at Landlubbers? Well, it seemed like it. I saw the beginning of the show there.
Oh,
not Landlubbers, at
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Patrick Utter's great, you know that, and he loves Segredo, so Segredo is the local celebrity.
Was Tony eating the whole time?
Tony's good at that. Tony's good about eating like constantly, which is weird because he's Mr. Professional Broadcaster, so he was trained to not eat, but he's taken to eating on air very, very well.
Do you think he finally realized that all those years of displaying this class and dignity were essentially, I don't want to say a waste of time. I mean, obviously it served him very well. He's doing fine for himself. He doesn't have to do anything, and he still is very, very busy. But that, because look, he's dropped a lot of the things that he used to say about, when he was looking at everything through rose-colored glasses. It was to the point, it's never going to be annoying because it's Tony. But still, you're like, come on, Tony. You can't possibly believe that Nick Saban is only in this for the good of the kids.
Yeah.
Right? That's like saying Tommy Tuberville was only in coaching for the good of the children.
Exactly. Man. Get the fuck out of here.
Ridiculous, man. But it's nice. And then he turned around with this eating on the air thing also. My buddy, the Mighty Melendez, I was talking with him yesterday. He's now watching the show every day from his digs in Redlands, California,
Oh, nice.
outside of L.A. And he likes you, by the way, and he thinks Tony is a great guy. And he can't believe how Mayo can eat. He watches the lunchbox, too.
No one can, but he never finished. It's still you now have me annoyed by it because he never finishes anything.
Oh, the child's plate? Yeah.
I hate it. It's like, dude, finish something, goddammit. Like, he just takes that's why I cut the food, because he ruins entire sandwiches. And
no, you did a good job with that last time. And he was screaming on the air as you were doing
the whole sandwich. I'm like, fuck you. I want to try the goddamn sandwich. You put your hands on it, and who knows where your hands have been. You slobber on it like my dog.
I don't even want to imagine where Mayo's hands go while he's eating this Skyline chili. Right? Can't be pretty, right? I don't even want to describe it. All right, back with more in a moment. The Greek going to join us here, and then a cast of just illustrious celebrities, including the professor and Mike Mayo, the aforementioned Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Back with all of that in a moment. Now that.
The time.
How about that safety, Lubie? Was that beautiful, man? We're up 5 in a hook right away. Yeah. It's 7:37.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
In the announcing booth, it's a possibility they've gone with the hot chick theory, which works for me, as they say.
Of course.
Yeah.
When I go down to Miami, that's what I do is I put the weather on. I shut off the sound. It's awesome.
Yeah, it could be snowing outside. You don't care. You don't want to hear what the person has to say.
It's now time for the Defo Show. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Somebody loan me a dime.
All right, yeah, we could definitely use that. Loan me a dime, the great Albert Castillo. Welcome back to the show, a Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, we got Mike Lubie Lubitz. We are euphoric after giving out a blockbuster winner on the program yesterday. We don't know how the rest of this parlay is going to go. You would have to assume, Lubie, at best, that would be, we hit 2 out of 3. Is that possible? What are we doing now? We're going against the Dolphins?
No, we're going
with the Dolphins and with the Jets. Okay.
With the Jets, yes.
All right, here's a guy that, and I would imagine, I don't know if he got in on a prop on this. Greek, did you do it? Did you pull the trigger on this thing yesterday? How are you, my friend?
What thing yesterday?
Little League World Series, Chinese Taipei. Perfect game. That had to be a prop bet, no?
I have some morals. I can't bet on kids.
I thought you
we thought this was a thing that you had pinpointed as like a license to steal, my friend.
Yeah, I know, but, the guy upstairs doesn't like it. And Christmas time, I'm going to buy you a watch. I really am. Because your grandfather couldn't have been Paul Revere because he would have been late. The British would have already been there. Every time you're late. Oh, my God. And I hate that. Even like when I go out with girls, if they're not ready, they're like, I need 10 minutes. I said, so do I. We get a new date. What the hell is going on? Have some respect for people in society today.
I don't know, Lubie. I'm blaming Lubie on this one. I don't know that he specified a time here. I thought you were coming on 7:35, so I kept yakking. But anyway, I mean, it's good to have you, my friend. No bet on the Little League World Series. I mean, a few years ago when we first came across your exploits. I believe you were sending it in on little Johnny Jones out of Cleveland, Ohio.
It was a kid in America. I don't know much about outside our Boca Raton, so I don't bet on those kids. I'm betting on preseason football. I had the Browns last night. What do you want?
That was our big tout of the century. It was our double seal gold wheel super platinum play of the night. The Cleveland Browns getting 3.5. How great is it too when you're getting 3.5 points to get like some oddball play like a safety and tack on another 2? It's like your bookie all of a sudden went BOGO and said, "Hey, 3.5 points, we'll make it 7. Buy one, get one free."
Preseason, you can't get screwed. There's no overtime.
Yes. Yeah, that could have screwed everything up yesterday. 100%.
Yeah, because you get a pick 6 or something like that. Yep. You're like last Saturday night, the Eagles picked off the Ravens late in the game. Ravens are laying 5, and they're 23-0 on preseason and wins, and they're like 18-4. And at the end of the game, a pick 6 ended up spoiling the whole cart. So you don't have to worry about that in overtime, which is always an exciting thing. And I always love people when they look at me and they go, "You bet preseason." And
you love it.
Like,
I mean,
you buy Girl Scout cookies?
I pretend I don't have any money on me. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, you're
I always say no thank you when they hit you up at the grocery store. Would you like to donate $1 to kids for, whatever? And I'm like, no thank you.
Every time they ask me, I go, "No problem. Did you pay my American Express bill?" Keep moving, bitch.
You're just getting hosed. I mean, especially when you're at Publix. I mean, you're getting absolutely clobbered. I may as well have a ski mask and a gun at the cash register. Honestly. And then they ask you if you want to give another $1 away. Get out of here.
I'd rather give it to a girl I'm with. I don't know where that money goes either. But I'm just
How about you pay for my cream cheese? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God. It's ridiculous. Guy asked me the other night at a restaurant in Boca if my teeth were real. He goes, "Your teeth real or they capped?" Like, dude, what are we in Mississippi?
He's probably an NHL coach.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Oh my God! What the hell is going on around here? Oh my God!
That's great.
So no money on Chinese Taipei last night. You have sources everywhere though, and tentacles, that have information that others aren't privileged to see around the world. I think you even saw the Trump documents at Minster. Were you in the background on that phone call by any chance, Greek, when he was saying, "Hey, you see this? We're going to invade Iran tomorrow"?
No.
You weren't there?
Political, deal me out. I don't care. I never did. I never will. They're both thieves on both sides. I've always said that. So politics is great. They spend millions of dollars to get a job that usually the highest paid was the president, $230,000. Does that make sense?
He makes four sticks. I think they make now 4 sticks.
Exactly.
All right, so what? They're still spending hundreds of millions to get elected because they get envelopes on the side. And they all envelopes.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It's a crime. It's a license to steal. So I don't get involved with politics. This girl asked me the other night, she goes, "Are you Democrat or Republican?" I got to know. I said, "Check." I guess what the hell does that matter? What does that really matter, my political views? I said, "I don't have any." He said, "What do you think of the Cowboys winning over 9 a.m. games?" Give a shit about politics. Who cares?
Like, you're probably right, Phil.
That's very shallow.
We should quit fetching on the show. Yeah.
I'm shallow.
I mean, but you have to care a little bit because, I mean, if DeSantis gets in, I don't know how good you're going to look with a Hitler mustache, Greek.
Oh, Jesus.
be tough. Let me ask you this. And you're out there on the single circuit again. And so, you've mentioned various dates that you've had and the fact that you're in association and, in the process of maybe, heading towards, I don't know about another marriage, but maybe another relationship of some significance. But are the women in Boca? I remember when I was cruising around on these ladies' nights, there were a couple of places there we used to go to. Actually, we were right near at Meisner Park. The other day we had a lunchbox show with Mike Mayo at Max's Grill, and there was a place next door which the name escapes me. But I mean, it was just an absolute stocked pond in terms of going there on a ladies' night. But do they still feature the grouper lips on these women? I mean, When,
Yeah, I mean, some people. I mean, again, I'm not anybody I go out with. Usually, I have some knowledge of. Like, I meet them through somebody I know. Or
okay.
something like that. I mean, yeah, I'm not on the website. You know, stuff like that. I mean, everybody's got different tastes. If that's what you like, you like. I really don't care. But you know, everybody. The only thing with everybody's got a story and everybody's got a drama, and I really don't want to hear a story or the drama.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to do it. Take a shower, show up, look decent, and then we'll see what happens.
All right. All right, makes sense. All right, I know we got to you late here, Greek, and you probably you know, have a full business calendar today that you have to attend to. So what do you have for us in terms of picks, my friend?
I'm going with the Packers, who are very good at home in preseason. I'm going with the Jets, and I'm also going with the Dolphins.
You're fucked.
I gave Lubie a pick.
No, you're fucked. I mean, the Lubie and I are, you know, we're off to a rocking start there. Gave out the Browns plus 3.5 last night. We're thrilled. And we now are riding a 3-team parlay with the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So two of your 3 picks are condemned.
We'll see what happens with sports betting. Maybe we'll know something in 2 weeks.
Well, what do you think is happening there, Greek? You've had a line on this for a while. What is really going to transpire here? And is it going to be the boon that people think it's supposed to be?
I mean, the appeal went in. It's really Hard Rock whether they want to decide, you know, to put it in, because the appeal could take 6 months or a year, or the Supreme Court or other courts could hear it within a week or 2. You know, those other judges decided that what happened, the ruling wasn't right. So now, the Magic Casino and the other gambling sites, they're contesting it. I don't know how it's going to go either way. And I mean, that's just the bottom line. Now, other states that have gambling, like you got 20, 30 books. You only got a couple of places you could bet, but you have, FanDuel, DraftKings, Win, Bet On. And down here, they just want it to be Seminole, obviously, with the deal they did. And then, Gulfstream, you get it, Tampa Downs, Palm Beach Kennel Club, and stuff like that.
I believe Hialeah also. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, people don't realize it's billions of dollars, and I mean billions. I'm not exaggerating. It's also will be the biggest state in the country to have it.
Yep.
So it's a lot going on. It really is.
Only Florida could fuck this up.
100%.
And stave it off. I mean, we should have been the forerunners out there. We should have been the people that were spearheading the whole movement to get legalized sports wagering, because I mean, this is degenerate city, right? Everybody that comes down here either has retirement money or they're a scam artist.
100%.
No, I mean, who's doing your gambling? These type of people.
I know, but it's every state. Jersey's pulling in $1 billion a month.
Exactly.
In handling. So every state. And Jersey's got no. The thing with Florida is they should have cut Florida in half years ago. Made it 2 states, because up top they think Elvis is alive. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you will see an assortment of Elvis impersonators at the various rest stops there on the turnpike once you get north of Palm Beach.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe not. I mean, there's a pressure, obviously, because they want to put it on before football. August 26th is next Saturday with college, and they know if I was running the Hard Rock, I would put it on, and then if it gets stopped, it gets stopped. But you make millions of dollars in the year. I mean, that's the way I look at it, but, everybody looks at things differently, and we'll see what happens. I mean, either side's not going to give up. And then the Seminoles are also, they're telling the state they're going to give them $500 million. And when people hear that money, they're like, oh, my God. No, it's not a ton when you figure out what they're going to make.
Yeah.
Imagine it, yeah.
Mobile betting, I mean, again, you and I, we've talked about this 20 years. When people looked at me 15 years ago, and program directors used to come in my office and go, why are you talking about gambling, sports gambling? It's not, and now nobody does that. I would look at them like, dude, really? Here's your slipper, Cinderella. It's been going on for years. And it will go on for years. It still goes on. I mean, the thing that people don't understand is, like, legalized betting. Everybody still bets. The whole world bets. It's just that now the state can get a piece. It'll make a lot of jobs. It'll make a lot of money. But it's not like it's just like marijuana. Marijuana is legal, yes, in a lot of states. People are still smoking pot all over the place. They always did.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just society. If you want to conform, fine. I mean, if I ran the state, I'd make everything legal.
Yeah, fuck it.
Because the more money we make, the better it is. Seriously, I would. but that's just, it's all politics and envelopes and people kickbacks, and that's what it is. And people get mad when I say it, but that's the way of the world.
Oh, for sure.
You walk into a restaurant, you want a table, give the maitre d' $100. I don't care who it is. Prime 112, you're getting in. I mean, that's just the way it is. People, I mean, and if you say that, and I'm being dead serious, people get mad. And, oh, great, you talk about money all the time. That's the way it is. It's not going to change. That's our society. Anything we're doing is we're doing for money. Greek 101. Why am I going to do something for free? I mean, just the way it is.
Jimmy Conway, baby. Just grease everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Go right in the back door, Mr. Hill. No problem.
Yeah, I think it's great. I hope it works out. I hope it'd be great for the state. You can't deny the money they'll make. You can't deny the jobs that'll give them and everything like that. But, if it doesn't go through, it's just the other side's got a little bit more money. I mean, that's what it comes down to, and that's the simple truth.
I love that. In Casino, when the Ray Liotta is, with Lorraine Bracco, and she says, "You gave that man $10." It's like, okay, yeah. I mean, which was like greasing a guy 200 today.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to a bar and it's packed, and you get up to the bar and you give that guy, say, $30, $20 for a tip on a drink. I'll tell you, the next time he comes around, there's going to be 200 people there. He's going to notice you.
Yeah.
He'll look right at you. Hey, what do you want? Because nobody tips because most people are cheap. We know that.
Common strategy. Yeah. I mean, stick the 20 in the jar before you even order your drink. Here, Manny, this is for you. Okay. Now I would like this. Yeah. And you'll do well. Greek.
Oh, my God.
We wish you all the best, man. Good luck. I'm sorry that I might have cursed you with our picks of the Jets and the Dolphins in the preseason games, but best of luck with both of those. And I always appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, always appreciate you guys being late.
All right. Thanks very much. The Greek, ladies and gentlemen. I thought he was coming on 7:35, Lubie. That was
7:35 is always the time. Why would it change magically today?
All right. I'll get the format down. How long have we been doing this? Like 2 years this way?
Yeah.
13 and all. Okay, the professor is coming up. There he is. The professor is there, and he has some selections, no doubt, and the big board. I don't know. Professor, how are you, by the way?
Living in stupidity, Defo. Living in stupidity. Like, I'm listening to this conversation with the Greek, and I don't disagree with some of the things he said. But I was at the Hard Rock a week ago. That place is not ready to be the live only on-site sports betting. I know they built a sports bar 2 years ago. I was standing in it.
Yeah.
Not like 10 days ago. If you open that place as the only place that can take on-site sports betting, it's going to be a fucking riot. Like it's going to be worse than Astro World and Travis Scott. People are going to get trampled to death in that place. They can maybe fit 10 windows in that room. Look, an average size sports book, decent size one on the Vegas Strip, you're talking 25 or 30 windows. And that's in a city where there are, 20 other major books right around you. You're talking about one in all of South Florida. That room is going to be total pandemonium and chaos. The Seminoles are not set up for it. I don't care what they're telling you. Again, you better be there at 4:00 in the morning on Sunday mornings and ready. It's going to be like trying to get goddamn Beanie Babies out of a Toys R Us in 1992. Like they're going to be riots at the windows. They're not ready for this. And honestly, this whole debate is so effing stupid. Number one, we know all the money's in the app. It's not in the on-site betting.
Right.
And number two, honestly, the way the Seminoles and Disney and the Florida Republican Party conspired a few years ago to try to freeze everybody out and put everybody, all of this with the Seminoles is ridiculous. There's no other state that does it like that. Open up the competition, let everybody in, let our friends at the Paramutuals have a piece. There is no reason to be attempting to operate it as a closed shop. And I will tell you, honestly, again, I like the people at Hard Rock. I like the people out at Coconut Creek. I want to see them do well with all of this. But I have been to both facilities. They are not prepared to have exclusive sports books in South Florida. It's going to be a mob scene.
Yeah, their sports book was more along the lines of, maybe not even like the Borgata now, which kind of redid its thing in Atlantic City. I mean, very small compared to, for having exclusivity in this particular
That's what I'm saying. You
degenerate
have a
activity.
metro market of a
Yeah.
few million people. You're giving an exclusive license, and at the time, I don't know if it's still the case. At the time, they weren't even going to put Coconut Creek in the mix. The only one was going to be at the Hard Rock. I've seen the room. The room is
Yeah.
not ready to handle that kind of volume at all. Not even remotely close. Now, could they do something and have it ready in a couple weeks? Maybe, but yeah, you're talking about a major redo there.
Well, I mean, if you compare a casino's ability to shift gears and immediately create something that normally would take, in terms of just construction time alone, about 5 times as long. I mean, a simple repair on your house here, it takes years.
Let's not go that far. You're giving every casino company the same amount of credit, and look. I think in the end they did a great job, but Circus Swim took like 5 years to do. The Fountain Blue has been in various states of building for like 25 years
Right.
now, and just had a fire a month ago. Not every casino company is like this hyper competent building. Some of them, and look, the Seminoles themselves. We've already seen like 3 delays on the takedown and new construction of the Guitar Hotel and the Mirage because they've had problems with the city council in terms of planning. Again, I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying, assuming I think the date I read was September the 7th, they're going to be ready on September the 7th. I was there 10 days ago. I didn't see any or excuse me, I guess it'd be 2 weeks ago at this point. I was there 2 weeks ago. I didn't see any evidence of them being ready on September the 7th.
I would wager that they would possibly convert the Hard Rock Live, that theater, into a casino.
I honestly, I'm not sure that. Look, they make a ton of money off of that. But have you tried to get a ticket to that place? I think Dave Chappelle goes on today, and it's like $600 for the worst nosebleed in the entire building. I'm not sure they want to give up that revenue either. All of a sudden, every big act wants to come down here, and they're making crazy money. I mean, look, you remember a couple years ago when the Rolling Stones came to play that room, and the worst seat in the house was like $1,800. I don't know that they want to give up that. They want to give up that revenue.
Friend of mine, the great Al Poliak from the Funky Biscuit, offered me a ticket to go with him to see Clapton, and they were $500 a pop, face value. So, that was buying it from the box office. They probably were going for like $3,000 after that. So yeah, they're making a ton of money there. But I believe in, especially at the Hard Rock, their ability to shift gears. And circumvent all of the
I think long term that's true.
red tape.
Again, but we're talking about 2 weeks from now. I think honestly the main issue here is people underestimating what that first NFL Sunday is going to look like with them having, and I think it's going to be as many people show up for a Hard Rock Live show, if not more. I mean, if you had 7,000-10,000 people show up wanting to bet football on that first Sunday.
Oh, it would be too hard to handle.
It would not be surprising to me at all. And I don't know that they're prepared for the kind of crush that I think they're going to get.
It'll be wild. And I never understood this anyway, how the Seminoles ended up having the. We know how it happened, but
yeah, I mean,
why would the state capitulate to some individual entity like this when they could just, as you said, have open bidding and joint partners on much more favorable terms with somebody else.
I mean, look, at the other lesson we've learned from all that is if you look around the country, particularly as it relates to the apps more than live windows, but what you've had is all the worst of the industry. You've had bets throttled, you've had these rollover requirements, you've had claims of, we can't release your money until you are in 30 times of action because of money laundering laws. We've seen complaints like this across the board, but particularly in states that issued exclusive rights to one particular company or another. So I think you open it up for the type of corruption that's going to hurt the player in this, rather than a wide open system where someone's going to compete and just do everything straight up.
All right. On another note here, as long as we're on some general gambling discussions, what do you make? I mean, you primarily bet college football, I guess, and basketball, but I would think your biggest investments are in college football games over the course of the season.
That's correct.
I mean, what do you think about the gambling scandal? That's emerging there. Well, with the Iowa players.
I think it's a disaster for all of college sports. Unfortunately, the Cassandras warned us about this, and in a lot of cases, it's coming true. I mean, you're going to have to watch in terms of look. When the freaking baseball coach at Alabama, a guy, I don't know exactly what he was making, but I got to figure that's at least a mid six-figure a year job. Is running a scam to get what was the number 25 or 50 grand down on a college baseball game. You have an integrity problem. I think it's a problem. The good news is I think what we've seen is, at least in terms of the app-based gambling, the monitoring is extensive and very capable. I mean, the Calvin Ridley thing, they were watching his buddy's cousin because they might be getting inside information. They've seemed to do an excellent job. Again, we get Mike Mayo making comments. I'm not. I want to circle back here. I'm not criticizing the competency of the people at Hard Rock. I'm just speaking to those opening dates. Like I keep reading about the football community be so excited. The first weekend we're going to have football betting at the Hard Rock. I'm just telling you, I don't necessarily think that's a place you're going to want to be unless they do something pretty significant in terms of changes.
All right. All right. So, and on this college
I'm not
thing?
saying long term, by the way, they can't fix that. I'm just saying in the immediate, there's nothing worse than showing up to a sports book at 11:30 and getting shut out on a noon kickoff
on the 4 o'clock games.
Because you didn't anticipate it.
Yeah.
And I think that first, and again, unless there's some major change that I'm unaware of currently being enacted, that first weekend's going to be a mess.
I stay away from the place in general. I mean, it's nicely appointed and all that. I had a lot of good times there. The crowds and everything. I can't imagine what a circus it would be trying to place a bet there. All right. So
again,
I wanted to get back into this thing though about the colleges, because you didn't finish your thought there. I don't think. Where that's going.
I think we're going to have to watch the direction. I think the opening salvo is certainly not encouraging, but what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to make college football players have a chip implanted that zaps them every time they place a bet on DraftKings?
Yeah.
I mean,
you were saying? Did he
no,
freeze?
I'm saying
No,
I'm saying there's not a solution.
All right.
What's the solution? The only solution I can think of is you can't bet on college sports anywhere anymore. Like that ain't going to happen. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry.
Yeah, I don't know what eventually the outcome of that is going to be, but you were thinking all along. I mean, there's no longer the possibility of kind of paying off a player inside of the pro game because of the money that's there. Some of that may have dissipated with the name, image, and likeness thing, with college players making more than even some pro players might be.
Look, I don't think Bryce Young at Alabama is getting bribed, but what's the NIL on the starting quarterback on a MAC team?
Yeah. Exactly.
50 grand, maybe. Like he's certainly at a level where he can be gotten to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quick 50 dimes in his bank account, and all of a sudden that interception that came up at the end of the second half, inexplicably.
Well, I think we did this
away.
story on the big board a couple months ago, but remember a few years ago there was a running back from Toledo who fumbled on the goal line during a bowl game for $400. So,
wow.
I think NIL has changed that somewhat, and it certainly changed it if the quarterback at Alabama or the star defensive tackle at Georgia. But for, just schmo quarterback, probably less. But, again, if you're the backup quarterback at Iowa and that's your security concern, well, guess who holds the kicks? The backup quarterback at Iowa. That could make a big swing in a game.
Yeah, no
All he's
doubt.
got to do is, botch one.
All right.
I also,
no,
by the way, since we're
no.
doing stupidity in politics,
No.
because Lubie cued me into this last night, this Enos Cantor freedom story, Enos Cantor story. Oh my God, people, can we stop because of our political affiliations taking the stupidest arguments of all? Did you see this, Defo?
I haven't seen this story. No.
Okay, so Enos Cantor was on Fox News yesterday, and they asked him a question about the differences between men and women and in sports and the WNBA. And Enos Cantor said if he was in the WNBA, he'd average 60 and 30. And now everybody's pissed
Oh,
at
get out of
Enos
here.
Cantor and calling this a controversial statement. It's not a what's the controversy in this statement? That he'd actually average 150? So people are mad that he only said 60. This is not a controversial statement. Enos Cantor would look like classic Wilt if you put him in the WNBA. And guess what? If he showed up at your pickup game where you and all your friends are 6 feet tall, he'd do double what he does
Yeah.
to the WNBA girl. This is not a controversial statement. This is just a biological fact. Like, and everybody and all the people on the left who want to refute him and say, well, Enos Cantor wasn't a skilled NBA player. He wasn't an all-star.
Just stand there and dunk on him.
Yeah.
Shaq wasn't a skilled NBA player. The guy averaged 30 and 20 for the entire finals against men who are much physically closer than any woman is to Enos Cantor. Like, this is the stupidest subject
That is
of all
dumb.
time.
I'm with you on that. 100%.
Like,
I remember years ago when McEnroe took a lot of flack maintaining that the 150th ranked men's player in the world would beat the crap out of the women's number one. And, to tell you the truth, that may have been true, as much progress as the women had made in the game. Any NBA player you would think would average 50 points a game.
I'm not going to say any NBA player.
In the
I don't
WNBA,
think
no?
every 6-foot guard is going to go. But Enos Cantor's 7 feet tall and 275 pounds. Like, there's nothing you can do to keep
The
him.
lob becomes effective.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do to. Again, and he doesn't need much skill. Shaq didn't have a lot of skill for a lot of years there. All he could pretty much do was dunk. That would be Enos Cantor in the WNBA. Let's just stop with this mixing of politics and sports nonsense, particularly when it comes to the men versus women stuff. They're not the same sports. Can we just stop debating how realistic the plot to Joanna Man was? Like, it's a dumb subject.
I'm with you. That's manufacturing a controversy there.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to think that, like you said, he probably underestimated what he could do as a WNBA player. Yeah.
I guess he's like, oh no, if he came to my pickup game at the Y, he wouldn't tear us up. Of course he would.
Yeah.
He's a foot taller than all of you.
You're probably taking Cantor over Lubie if you're out there at the park and you have first pick.
Yes.
Again, and I'm not debating that Lubie might be a better shooter than Enos Cantor. Guess what? It doesn't matter when you're that much bigger and stronger.
All right. What are you looking at in terms of making some money over the weekend here, Professor?
I kind of like the under in the Dolphins-Texans games. I'm not really impressed with either offense. C.J. Stroud was a complete disaster in his first start. Supposedly going to play some more. The Miami Dolphins offensive line has not been impressive. And then you saw last week against the Falcons, Dolphins with significant problems in the red zone with their depth players. Again, not really an opinion in terms of the pick game itself, but would look towards the under there. And then, hey, Monday night, Baltimore Ravens, they didn't cover last week, but they won their 24th in a row. Like, until someone shows they can beat them, why would you not take the Ravens every week?
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And their record against the spread during that 24-game winning streak is
now 22-2.
Even with this last loss, only includes 2 losses. All right. Did you happen to see that interview with the Walters guy on SportsCenter last night, Scott Van Pelt?
No, I don't watch ESPN
I guess
anymore.
he was promoting his book. Kind of interesting. That and this guy, I guess the legend is real with him. Winning like more than any other gambler, maybe lifetime or something. And was an early forerunner. I didn't realize it with Mark Lawrence, like computer analytics.
Okay.
And he supposedly sort of pioneered this whole idea of applying these analytics to wagering. Very interesting guy. It looked like his book. I mean, it was promoted mostly on the sensationalism of making these assertions about Phil Mickelson. But I think I got the impression that.
Oh, this is the Mickelson book? Okay.
But it really wasn't about Mickelson. The guy really downplayed that. Walters. Okay. And he said, that was just a really small aside here to explain something about when he went to prison for this insider trading and everything. But naturally, that was the thing everybody picked up on because of Mickelson's celebrity stature. But it might be good. I don't know.
Well, and just that the numbers are absolutely insane.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, but he kind of brushed that off very casually. It wasn't like he was sitting there, it wasn't like Michael Cohen coming on and talking about Trump. He basically said that that's just really a small aspect of the book. So probably some fascinating stories in there about this cat who, does have legendary status. There's really a Gamblers Hall of Fame. How do you get into that, Professor? Are you familiar with that?
I am not.
In Las Vegas, the Gambling Hall of Fame?
I mean, they've got like everything. There's a Mafia Hall of Fame. There's I mean, so what?
All right. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
I mean, it's probably like Archie the Greek and the poker guys and
Doyle Brunson. No,
yeah, there's probably not. I mean, there's maybe some sports guy too, but probably not a ton of them in there.
Stu Unger made it into the Hall
I
of
would
Fame.
imagine Stu Unger would be in there. Yeah, Phil Ivey.
I mean, the stories have to be great when they put the resume up about the degenerate aspect of these guys. Lifestyles that they live.
I mean, I feel like you're a little bit too into the lifestyle if you would actually go to that particular Hall of Fame. I kind of think it would be kind of boring, but that's me.
How weird would it be? Yeah, I mean, what would motivate you to go? Hey, yeah, let's go check out the Gambling Hall of Fame.
Yeah, again, yeah, kind of a loser.
All right, so those are your preseason picks. Are you ready? You want to unveil the big board?
Sure.
This week? Okay.
So obviously, one of the things everybody's talking about this week is the Wander Franco situation with the Tampa Bay Rays, which is, I mean, it's kind of a dark story, but I don't know where we really go with that, other than to say, in this particular political environment, where like Tua is coming out and talking about this Sound of Freedom movie at post-practice press conferences, and like everybody gets off on accusing each other of being child molesters, like actually having a relationship with a 17-year-old in that environment is probably not a great idea. On top of it just being, disgusting, it's probably a stupid thing to do. I mean, now I will say this is in the Dominican Republic, and Wander Franco is only like 22 or 23 years old. In other nations, 22 and 23 and 17 is a little bit more encouraged than, let's say, it would be in the more civilized parts of the world. I mean, I'm not even sure in Alabama they really object to that. Ask Senator or attempted Senator Judge Roy Moore seemed to be down with that kind of situation. So we'll see how that one plays out. But it got me thinking, and forget the darkness of some of the crimes that athletes. We're not talking Ray Caruth, who's just obviously a sick bastard, or OJ, who got away with it. Just in terms of raw stupidity, we've had a lot of things over the years.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd celebrate that with the big board of dumb athlete crimes.
I like it.
Lost the camera there for a second. Sorry, folks.
It's okay. Big board of dumb athlete crimes.
That's this week's big board, if I can get the camera to focus here. The big board of dumb athlete crimes. And we've had a lot over the years. So there's a lot of candidates for this list. So if you have other selections, feel free to say them in the chat. But these are the ones we went with. And we're going to start with number 5, local story. Miami Hurricane Najee Davenport, who once had to serve community service because after a party, he went to be back to the dorm room of a girl he had met at the party from Barry University. He broke into her dorm room and he took a dump in a clothes hamper that was sitting in her closet.
I remember that very much.
I don't pretend I know every part about romance, but I will tell you, number one, I think the percentage of women who are going to be into you taking a dump in their closet is very low. And more importantly, number 2, if she digs it, I don't think that's a girl you want to spend time around. If you're having a couple drinks and she comes over, whispers into your ear, "Hey, baby, why don't you come back to my room and take a shit in my closet?" I say that's not an evening that's going to be fun for you. That's going to take a dark turn on you very, very quickly. There's really no scenario where taking a dump in her closet is going to end up with a good story at the end of the night.
Yeah, I had a variation of that. I want you to go back home and get your shit out of my closet.
Okay. Yeah, with that, yes.
Again, that's not going to be a fun story for you,
Yeah.
but at least you could share that with your friends. Whereas if I, am at the bar and this happens to me, I'm not telling my buddies, oh, yeah, you wouldn't believe what happened last night.
An actual dump, yeah.
Went back and she wanted me to take a dump in her closet. Like, again, maybe it's just me. I know that Germany has an entire sector of the porn industry basically dedicated to this. So there are people who are out there that's their thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think if you're an average guy, there's no way this particular night ends up as a fun activity in your memory.
I mean, well said. And that's a good starting point. That's only number 5.
Number
Easily
4,
could be a chart topper, that one.
we know Titans coach Mike Vrabel has a history, but for those who don't wear this, and I was one to wear this until we started researching the story, in 2011, Mike Vrabel was arrested for stealing beer from a deli. Now, that's not the kicker to this story. The kicker to this story is that the deli was inside of a casino in Indiana, and Mike Vrabel was a professional football player for the Kansas City Chiefs at the time. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but it's really easy to get free beer in any freaking casino in the world, particularly if one makes enough money as a professional football player. I'm pretty sure any casino is going to give you a bud on the house. Like, I don't understand why you feel like you would have to go into the deli and steal beer from the restaurant inside the casino. Like, just walk up to the bar and ask for a beer. They're going to give it to you. Grab one of the waitresses that are walking around any casino on earth. They're going to bring you a free beer. I don't know why you felt like you had to get yourself arrested for stealing beer from the deli.
Stick a 20 in the video poker machine and pretend to be playing.
Right,
that always works.
Again, a certain amount of gambling education and etiquette probably should be taught to these people. If you're going to go in a casino, you should know you get free drinks. You don't have to steal free drinks from the deli inside the casino. They'll probably even give you free food if you ask.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't even have to go to the deli. The waitress will bring you a sandwich. I don't see what the issue is. We hear Mayo all the time, that goes to the poker room and down at the Hard Rock, and they bring him fancy cheeseburgers and whatnot. Like, this doesn't seem like a problem, except if you're Mike Vrabel, who has made, frankly, some decisions as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans that make me question his wisdom overall. So perhaps this is just part of a larger Mike Vrabel issue.
Pretty dumb. Yeah, you're stealing drinks at a casino. No doubt about it. All right, that's number 4. Mike Vrabel. Booze is free. So, why go in there and commit a crime? Unbelievable.
Again, these are not dumb crimes or sinister crimes. I mean, excuse me, these are not dark crimes or sinister crimes. These are just dumb crimes.
Dumb.
And I got to say, stealing a beer in a casino is about as dumb as a crime can possibly get.
It's right there. It's up there.
Takes
All
us
right,
to number 3. Gilbert Arenas. And really, Gilbert Arenas has committed some crimes like pulling a gun on a teammate over a tonk debt that was incurred on the team plane. Gilbert Arenas has a number of crimes here, but I want to focus on particular one. Gilbert Arenas, during his days with Golden State Warriors, was once arrested while speeding through Los Angeles on the freeway at more than 100 miles an hour. And when the cops pulled him over, he had more than 1,000 pounds of fireworks sitting in the back of the truck he was driving down the freeway. Now, just on top of everything else, I'm not going to lie, this does not seem like a crime a black guy would commit. Like, if you're going to get busted with 1,000 pounds of illegal fireworks, this seems like something much more a guy named Joe Billy in rural Alabama or Mississippi is going to. I mean, that really seems more like a redneck crime than a brother from the hood kind of crime to me. I just got to say, Gilbert Arenas, I don't know too many black guys who are getting arrested for excess illegal fireworks. That doesn't seem very gangsta, as the word they use in the rap in the movies. Where that, again, seems like, breeding illegal snakes or something along those lines. It's a hillbilly crime. It's a redneck crime.
Sounds like an isolated incident among black Americans.
Right? I mean, Gilbert Arenas defying racial stereotypes by getting arrested with 1,000 pounds of fireworks.
All right, that's number 3. Dumb crimes committed by jocks.
Number 2, And I don't know how many people will remember this one, but it is maybe my personal all-time favorite crime. This is former Cincinnati center back during the Bob Huggins days, Art Long. Art Long was once arrested for assaulting a police officer. Now you're going to say, Ken, that's not really dumb or funny. That's just because that's just really, kind of stupid and sick, because who assaults a police officer? Well, you need to know the details here, because the officer Art Long once assaulted was during a parade at the downtown area of Cincinnati, and it was a police horse. Art Long once punched a police horse during a parade when a mounted officer asked him to move off the street, and Art Long's response was to punch the officer's horse. And Art Long was arrested because technically the horse is, in fact, a member of the Cincinnati Police Department.
Wow.
It is an officer. And he was arrested and eventually convicted for assaulting a police officer. Why? Because he punched a police horse. And I also got to say, Art Long, like, you're a big dude. You were 6'9" and a good, 275, 280. But I don't think you're winning that particular fight. Again, stay in your weight class, Art Long. I don't think that's going to turn out well for you.
That is long after the release of Alex Karras punching the horse in Blazing Saddles. So he could
Long,
have been
and again,
that.
I don't think Art Long necessarily saw that movie. That the generations don't work out particularly well there.
Yeah.
But yes, Art Long arrested for punching a police horse during a parade in downtown Cincinnati.
That one, I have to say, is going to be hard to top, Professor, and that's only number 2 on the list. So,
well,
Van
we do
number
have
1.
a guy, and you could take this either way, because he was eventually convicted of some much darker crimes. But again, with a local flair down here, and that's Kellen Winslow Jr., who was once arrested for masturbating in his truck in the parking lot of a Target, which I gotta say,
yeah, I mean, very Pee Wee Herman-esque, yeah.
Look, Pee Wee Herman, I get it. You're in a porn theater. That's what people are pretty much there to do.
Yeah.
In my truck in a Target parking lot? What got you so excited? And
BOGO sales? I mean, maybe he was reading the flyer they put out.
And the better, when he was arrested and asked about this, Kellen Winslow Jr.'s claim was, I wasn't masturbating. I was looking for a Boston Market. Okay. Now, look, I like Boston Market as much as the next guy. Yeah. I enjoy a good rotisserie
I'm not jerking off to this.
But if you get so excited about the chicken pot pie and the corn muffins that you feel the need to take your penis out of your pants, you're a little too enthusiastic about Boston Market for my taste. I don't mind Boston Market, but the chicken wasn't that freaking good. And honestly, if this was true and you got that excited about a Boston Market, I wonder what the hell you were doing at Pollo Tropical.
How do you get nailed for this, though? I mean, how do you end up getting caught?
I have no idea. I mean, I assume someone walked by the car, saw him jerking off, and called the cops. I mean, Kellen Winslow kind of had the crazy eyes to begin with. But if I see a 6'5", 250-pound, very scary looking individual in the parking lot of a Target jerking off, I'm probably going to call the police too.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, that might be the right move.
That doesn't seem like something. Look, we have a lot of what's appropriate.
Eyeing little girls with bad intent.
I don't even know those little girls. For all I know, it could have been, the M&M's aisle at Target. I have no idea.
Pretty lame, yeah.
It's a Target parking lot. Like, what's so exciting about Target? And then again, your claim, well, it was actually because I was looking for a Boston Market. Okay.
Was that before or after the I'm a Warrior speech?
That was a few years after, and a few years before the sexual assaults. He was
heinous
crime, crazy shit.
Yeah, he's
crazy, and
didn't he whack somebody in San Diego or something?
No, he raped a woman in her sleep in San Diego.
Oh God!
Old woman. It was like an old woman, and
he's genuinely a sexual predator, and we've stayed away those crimes because they're not funny. But I'm sorry. Even if you're a sick bastard like Kellen Winslow Jr., whacking it in the parking lot of a Target is always going to be funny to me.
Unbelievable.
If for no other reason than it's a Target. Like,
A lot of dumb shit. There's no question.
were you like, you know what? Like, Marshall's isn't quite classy enough for me to jerk off in the parking lot. Let me go over to the Target.
Trying to think if I've ever done that.
In a parking lot?
I hope not.
Look, you have people have sexual forays in a
Yeah.
parking lot, like 100%. But do you do it in the middle of a Target one in the daytime when other people can see you? Like, I feel like no.
Getting caught on that one is actually
I'm just going
probably
to go
more
ahead and
heinous
say
than
it
the
as
actual act. Yeah.
I'm going to go say as a broad statement, you don't need to do it in a parking lot, period. You don't have to have any sexual forays in a parking lot. It's a parking lot. Go home. Go get a hotel room.
I've had a few.
We know Lubie, is legendary for this.
I've been in parking
What are you
lots.
talking about?
Yeah,
Not,
again,
not only the parking
I-
lot, but how about the valet? I mean,
as a
entrance.
blanket statement, I don't think that's a good thing. But like I said, go home. Get a hotel room, you cheap bastard.
He was at a
It'd be
hotel.
more
That's the funny
enjoyable.
part.
I've done it in multiple
The
parking
front desk was right there. Frankie would have comped him a room, or
It was
certainly given him enough of a
nighttime.
discount to make it worth staying there.
It was nighttime, so I'm going to go out to the parking lot now.
They were abandoned and it was nighttime. I've never.
I'm not going to agree with that one. I don't
How
want
about he had the guy bring his car up? He didn't tip him because he was going to be coming back later.
Wasn't the valet.
And
There's
there
no
it was.
valid excuse where I have to see your naked ass pressed up against your car window. I don't want to see that.
Unless you're DiCaprio in the Titanic there with Winslet.
Go get a room, you cheap bastard.
Excellent stuff, Professor, as always. All right, we wish you the best of luck with your wagers over the weekend.
We do, and we'll be following this this Florida story. I really at this point have no idea how it's going to turn out. It's going to be very interesting.
I think it ends up turning out badly for the citizens of the state, as usually is the case here in Florida, where since I've become familiar with this. I mean, going all the way back to tracking these parimutuel laws that were from the Stone Age, they've never, for some reason, wanted to get this right. And they've had many chances at sort of a reprieve there, with a call from the governor of all things, and for some reason, just never get this right. It's always a clusterfuck. With controversies, suing people, and
because our state is run by idiotic hillbillies. It's not.
Well, that's true.
For quote unquote, it's way back to what was it, Proposition 9 when Bush was in office, and like South Florida voted for it by like 82%, but all the hillbillies up in North Florida and Central Florida voted against it at like 97%.
Yeah.
So, because we can have the lotto and the dog track, but we can't have that. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, and in these hillbilly places, they're inundated with this kind of shit.
Right.
I mean,
And
there are 5 dog tracks, or were in Jacksonville.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
All right. Thanks, Professor. Appreciate it. And thanks so much for being with us here on a Degenerate Friday.
You have a good one, Dave.
All right. Thanks a lot. The Professor, ladies and gentlemen. There was some dumb stuff there, huh? I mean, the whacking off in a parking lot. I don't know, Louie, if you're young.
Never backed off in a parking. I've done stuff in a park. Again, when you're younger, you have to. Like I at 18 or 17, you can't get a hotel. So I don't know what Ken was doing so good for him. But like when I was in high school, we had a spot and it was a parking lot in a community, but it was abandoned and it wasn't like a Target, Like,
Yeah.
I that's weird.
I don't think I've ever whipped it out, and just
No.
sat there and whacked off in the car while I was waiting to go into a store. I want to say no to that. Yeah.
I guess she's taking too long. Let's see.
All right, we're coming back with more. I don't know where we go from there. But I mean, that's a tough transition. Jerking off in the parking lot, but Kellen Winslow. I mean, and that was whatever happened to him. Did he end up? He had to end up in the slammer. No, wasn't he convicted of that?
Yeah, I think he raped an old lady. He may have killed her as well. Yeah, no, he totally lost it. I think he's in prison to this day.
I mean, CTE. What are you thinking? Or was a guy just nuts before any of his football experiences? You think? I don't know. Remember when the Canes got him? Everybody was thinking, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be an absolute animal." And he was good with the Hurricanes, wasn't he? Tight end.
He was great with the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
He was good with the Browns early in his career, and then he flamed out of the league. And then, so it was on multiple women, 5 different women in San Diego.
Wow.
And
Serious.
a rape of a homeless woman. So he's in prison.
You don't think, does that not reek of CTE? I mean, a guy doing things of that dark a criminal nature?
Yes.
Hitting the head too many times. All right, we're coming back with more. And yet we condone this, Lubie, because it's in the name of what? Entertainment. That's what it's all about. Starters, a lot of starters going to play, according to coaches, Lubie. And that's one of the Greeks' theories. Speaking of Degenerate Friday activity, that coaches tell you what they're going to do, and they actually do it. Andy Reid says he's going to play his starters for the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen. Starters, including Patrick Mahomes, going to be out there for like a half of this preseason game. But I mean, does that make some sense? If you're going to play these preseason games, if they're of any significance whatsoever in terms of just developing a sense of timing at a pace that is in somewhat sync with what you might see in a regular season. In other words, I mean, you would want to go against the other team's starters, wouldn't you, at that point? But just from a timing aspect, right? I mean, how many games are won or lost because some schmank jumps off sides or false starts? So you would want to try to iron that out under what would ordinarily be the pace of the game. I could see that being a worthwhile endeavor, but I mean, it's like almost shocking, right? The Chiefs are going to play their starters for a half. Other coaches, Tomlin, I think, was saying he was going to play his starters. Pittsburgh, and there was speculation that your man Tua might see some action in this Dolphin game.
I don't mind starters. I'd rather Tua not. The way that offensive line is right now.
And more perils, too, for the New York Jets, your favorite team, along the offensive front. They're now plugging in your man, Mekhi Becton, at right tackle and seeing how that works out. He's easing his way into the position, but the problem is they don't have anybody at that spot. Imagine, I mean, going into the regular season, and you've got all of this stuff, all of this ammunition lined up, and just ready to fire. Aaron Rodgers is in there, and he's not going to be too effective looking up at the lights. So you might be onto something there, Lubie. I know you've been fetching about the Jets offense. Well, you've been reveling in the fact that they suck. The Jets offensive line. Will they be the biggest disappointment? I mean, think about this. We're having this euphoric year here in South Florida, including, and you couldn't, go into the eyes of the hurricane, any more than the Marlins are this weekend, right? Literally. Because supposedly there's going to be a hurricane hits like Los Angeles. Is that possible? No way, right? It doesn't even rain there in the summertime. Lubie. There's a hurricane off the, I mean, you can't tell me that there isn't something to this global warming thing. This is shit that never happened ever in the history of the world. Dinosaurs were walking the planet, and it never happened. A hurricane going to hit like the West Coast there.
And it's not a tsunami. It's a straight up hurricane.
Yeah, I think the winds are going to diminish to the point where maybe it's not going to be an overwhelming threat as it makes landfall. But,
Category 4 hurricane is aiming towards Southern California, Southwest.
Think about that.
California.
I mean, the magnitude of that is beyond staggering.
How do you even have a hurricane there? Isn't the water cold? Isn't that the whole point? Is that you need warm water? Isn't that
it's
water
fucking freezing, man? You jump in the Pacific there, you go to Laguna Beach, you're thinking, yeah, this is going to be fun. You go running in there with your girlfriend, and then you realize that she stopped on the shore, and you're in the water, and it is fucking freezing. Unbelievable.
Fuck. Where did? What is this?
This is a good one, huh?
Oh
For all of those, I don't want to get into everybody's dodging politics today, but. Anybody that doesn't believe something's going on is just not watching, right?
No, they're lying.
And this isn't fake news or any of this stuff. I mean, you can go ahead and, make all the excuses to, just to shrug it off and, cast it away. But a hurricane zeroing in on like San Diego and Los Angeles has to be unprecedented, Lubie. I would think.
One in the early 1900s or something, but it's like been like 100 years or something. I just saw something, and I was wondering why they're talking about it. It was like 100 years ago, something like that.
Start using roll-on deodorant, Lube. Come on. I don't know what it is, man. Aerosol cans? What's doing this? All right, we're coming back with more. The Gambling Gourmet going to join us in the show as well as our continued festivities on a Degenerate Friday. We've given you, and I hated to do that to the Greek, didn't you? Inform him that we also had selected the Jets. That was your logical, we use your rationale on that. Mm-hmm. Jets with Hack Wilson, the Hack Wilson theory, that he is looking to continue to shine. The Jets did shellac the Panthers in their previous preseason game, and they've already played 2 games. There's no way that Rodgers sniffs the field, but Zach Wilson is looking better than Rodgers so far in the preseason. Not the games, but even in practice sessions, everybody's raving about this kid and how he's made this complete vital transformation to being the quarterback they thought they drafted when they selected him number 2 overall, much higher than Aaron Rodgers went in the draft. Remember when he was dropping?
Yeah.
And there was the girlfriend. That was kind of a sick thing to happen. Maybe that influenced him in terms of the way that he relates to women now, Aaron Rodgers, which seems to be with a very sort of cavalier approach. No, I mean when you see Aaron Rodgers who owns these stunning babes, do you think that okay, well that's going to be a short-term thing, which has been the history?
Yeah, always. Yeah, it's not
But think about it. I mean, wasn't he dedicated to this girl that he was like seeing when he was at Cal Berkeley? And she was sitting with him, holding hands. They were outside there in the auditorium where the draft was taking place, and everybody in the world thought he was going to be either number 1 or number 2. In fact, I remember being somewhat surprised that Alex Smith was taken number 1 by the 49ers that year. And then he zeroed in the cameras. I mean, they were all over it, like Trump walking into an indictment. They got Aaron Rodgers there on camera, and he's holding hands with this cute little blonde, Lubie. Now, do you get any kind of kick out of evaluating the girlfriends of various athletes and thinking, wow, she's a babe? No? All right, so I mean, as I recall, she was a very attractive young lady.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then, he kept dropping. They went past him at number 2. We had the number 2 pick and picked Ronnie fucking Brown.
Yes.
How many times have the Dolphins whiffed? Oh, my God, they whiffed on Matt Ryan. They whiffed on Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. Breeze, and they've whiffed a lot. Yep.
Should I say it, Lubie, just to infuriate you further?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a whiff. I mean, Herbert hasn't done anything yet.
Justin Herbert.
Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. Like, Herbert wasn't the whiff.
All right.
Ryan, but Breeze twice. They've done lots of whiffing. They're pretty good at it.
You have a quarterback that they're hoping they impose a rule that they have to count Mississippis before they come after him. And this Justin Herbert stands in there in the pocket like a man, Lubie.
Yeah.
Fires a ball down the field like a man, Lubie.
That man hasn't done anything.
None of this running around. Oh, well, geez, I'm seeing butterflies. Okay. I don't know. When he starts speaking in Hebrew, you definitely have to get a little nervous about Tua. I think his last press conference was conducted in Hebrew. All right, we're coming back with more. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, going to join us. He'll be out at the racetrack later on today at Gulfstream Park. That's always a lot of fun. I had a blast out there last Friday with the lovely Kim Ruddy. Tony Segreto was on board. You saw Tony yesterday. What kind of spirits was he in?
It was great. He had a blast. Pat, he's a huge fan of his. Born and raised in South Florida, or from South Florida.
We try to bring legends in there to shenanigans because it's worthy of that.
He loved Tony, and Tony had a great time.
Oh,
and
good.
Eating the entire time.
What you guys have? You have one of those pizzas again?
Pat kept bringing out crap. Tony got a mahi sandwich, and then we had some wings because they're great. Their wings are great. And then Pat brought out some pepperoni pizza, and Tony ate literally some of everything. Like
oh, good. No, I mean, my friend, the Mighty Melendez, he noticed that about Tony. He said he's actually out eating mayo on these shows.
Yes, he actually on our shows eats more than we do. He actually will constantly be eating. It's actually pretty impressive.
And he loves him. I mean, a very likable guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, we'll have more coming up. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. I'm looking at the card Saratoga today. I'm surprised Mayo, he hasn't really been engaging, has he?
No,
he usually sends us all of those sick beats that he takes.
He's had a lot going on with his mom, so he actually had to be like an adult and have priorities.
Oh, really? No, he was sending it in while she was he's by her hospital bed.
That one day, but it hasn't been like when he's at home, like fucking degenerating. Like
she's like, Michael, I need you, and he's on the phone, with his bookie. Yeah, give me 20 to win on the 6 in this one, okay?
I think that's how. He's like, hold on, Mom.
Hold on, Mom. Oh no, I punched the wrong track.
Damn it, Velasquez. I don't think that's how it went. What is it, Mom?
No, not the 2. It's always the 2. Isn't it always the 2 that fucks you?
I don't.
You haven't seen that because
No.
you haven't felt this kind of pain, Lubie. Unfortunately for you, you've never really dabbled in it too heavily. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Now that it's 8:40. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
I think I'm the only person who got to play a
Nice.
golf at,
Wow.
the
Nice.
Wynn Resort. So that's a claim to fame.
Quite a distinction.
The other thing is 120 degrees, and in front of us, there's a group that was kind of playing a little slow, and one guy was taking a lot of time over the little shots. We were getting a little bit aggravated, but I was playing with the club pro there, the guy who's the PGA professional for the Wynn Resort. He goes, let's not get too upset. That's Michael J. Fox. So,
Wow.
which was quite
Yeah.
actually really incredible and encouraging to see a guy with he
Parkinson's for like
has
20
with
years.
Parkinson's, yeah. All right, so this was
condition, and-
post-Parkinson.
yeah, and again the way I was chopping it around. It's not
And
like
so
I
you
was-
weren't tempted to take a 3-wood out and buzz him?
I
from
wasn't
130
buzzing him, and I
yards
wasn't
away?
playing through. And once I found out who it was, I just kind of sat there and enjoyed I took my time. I played 2 balls on certain holes. It was good. It was fun.
Very nice. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
I used to like to send like a Max Fly green little 3-wood. Once in a while, you'd hit it just right, and it was a low-line drive, and it would buzz the people in front of you. It seemed to be taking forever. They're plumb bobbing on the green and everything. You had no intention of hitting the green. You wanted to go straight by them, whiz by them, like a bullet in Vietnam, right? Like they were in a jungle scene there in the Forrest Gump movie. Mike Mayo, how are you? Good to see you here on the program. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, guys. I am well, and isn't it? That's always the case when they say, "Oh yeah, you're 260 away from the green. You got no shot of hitting them. Just lay up and hit there." And then you just rifle that line drive, and it goes boom, 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 and dribbles right up to the green. And they look at you and they start glaring, and they
pick up the ball and throw it in some cases right into the creek, which would be appropriate for that amount of inconsideration. It was always good. Very frustrating when you're behind a very slow group.
Yes,
especially and when I was playing golf at some of these crummy courses, they allowed both carts and walkers.
Oh, Jesus.
So if you were in a cart and you were behind a group of walkers, I mean, forget about it. And these were literally walkers, because I'm talking about like the Century Village
You
course.
mean like the Alta Cocker? They have actual walkers with the tennis balls on the end while they're going up to the green. That would make for a very slow round.
Yeah. Hey, Moish, you want to hit already? Come on.
It's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons that I've given up golf. And now I've got the best reason of all.
I thought you had a bug. You were telling Rappaport. You're such a phony. You were telling Bert Rappaport you had a bug to go out and buy a set of clubs.
Well, yeah, because, now I am on the sidelines because both sets of my clubs that I had were in my home office, and they both got wiped out in the horrific historic floods of April 2023. So with this insurance checks that hopefully I'm about to cash soon, I might go and buy myself another set of clubs. And
what for, though? I mean, just to get frustrated?
What for? Because sometimes, so there's 2 forms.
You were actually decent? I mean, what kind of
I was
golfer were
fast.
you?
I could get around in 3 hours. I wouldn't necessarily want to count up all the strokes. No, at one point when I was the golf writer, I was shooting like, low 90s. I would break 100. But
that
now
was legitimate low 90s, or
no. I mean, well, one mulligan aside, something like that, and first team mulligan, and then one other.
you stuck to one mulligan aside? Because once you drop a mulligan, you may as well drop like 30 of them.
Every
on the
hole
front
is a
nine.
mulligan.
No, not every hole. I tried to play almost legit, and my claim to fame was I played the Pebble Beach U.S. Open setup course
Oh yeah, wow.
the day after Tiger Woods won. He won by like 15 strokes. That was, I
Yes.
think, the year 2000. He shot a closing round 67.
Jesus.
I shot on the.
Wait, what was that now? I missed that. You froze there on me for a sec.
I said,
What was your?
Tiger shot 67 in his final round. I shot 67 in my final 9 holes.
Oh yeah, really? I mean, a legitimate 67 final 9.
Yeah, but the
130.
I played so well on the front. I actually shot 48 on the front, so I was in line to break 100 on a Pebble Beach U.S.
Pebble Beach,
Open.
impossible from the pro tees. I mean, forget it.
Stupidest
It
course.
was from the kind of the 60,
Women's?
800, not the women's. No. Anyway, hey, I got
all of a sudden, I'm going to be like Enos Cantor. Oh God, you were playing a women's tees, Mayo. Yeah, that's it. This guy's fucked. He'll never work again.
got a parking lot sex story. Do you want to hear it?
No.
Burns Steakhouse. That's the place that
you tapped a girl at Burns Steakhouse in the parking lot? Get out of here.
Parking lot, yeah.
Was it the former Mrs. Mayo? No wonder she left you.
No, it was not. I'm not going to get into who it was, but
did you remember who it was?
Oh, I know who it was, and you know who
Okay.
it was too. But I'll
Oh
tell you later.
wow! Get out of here, you dog.
PDA. There's public space. That some people are.
I mean, I won't say I actually had sex like in the back of a car. A lot of people, that grew up in my area have, but came close, I guess, in parking lots. So that's why I thought when a professor was, talking about Kellen Winslow, who knows? I mean,
sometimes you get urges. I don't know.
Sometimes you get urges.
Chicken can be
horny
very...
back then. I might have jerked off at Santa Anita. I think now that you mention it, waiting for the anthem to be played, so I wouldn't walk in there beforehand.
No, when you hit that superfecta on a 4-horse box for like $2.40, that is very, very exciting.
Oh God!
Tell you what, one place I've never thought about it was at a racetrack because not once when I was at Belmont Park have I said, "Oh boy, I have an urge."
Oh no, sex at the track would be awesome, man. Sure, we had a little office there for many years when we were doing the horse racing shows. Hey, I wanted to get into this because you were jumping all over this, and actually the professor was eyeballing your comments, and you did cut. You were covering city government for a long period of time, so you understand all of this stuff. And I remember when I was doing horse racing shows when I first came to Florida in the early '80s. The parimutuel situation and relationship between the state and the racetracks was abortive at best. I mean, it seemed like the people in Tallahassee that were making most of these rulings were completely out of touch with what was going on here in the horse racing industry in terms of, its impending survival. And, they still had blue laws on the books where you couldn't, race on Sunday. Minors weren't allowed into the racetrack. It was real stupidity. It's Stone Age stuff. So I know how the red tape goes, but I mean, and this has been going on forever. I mean, the way this has come about, the evolution of gambling in the state has been horrendous. But what are you seeing here, Mike Mayo? You're saying that the Seminoles are ready to go, and this is going to happen. Is that your read on this?
What I'm saying is, when it comes to gambling policy in this state, logic and the benefit of the public have nothing to do with it. It is all about who has the best lobbyists, and in the legislature's case, also, they want it to be a never-ending story, because then it means if it's an unresolved issue, all the competing factions will keep contributing to their campaigns. So it is an unlimited source of campaign funds when you have high stakes, high money people that want something that's going to be very lucrative. Sure. You don't resolve it in the first year. You take 25 years to resolve it in a way that any logical person would say, well, what is the way to maximize revenue for the state and also protect the interests of the bettors and also encourage and stimulate competition, which is what I thought the whole Republican platform, Free State of Florida, business friendly, is all about.
Right on, Mayo.
Now is shenanigans, sorry, Pat Utter, in the back rooms of whoever has the best lobbyists cutting best deals to make exclusive deals for the Seminoles when you have all these other major sports book operations.
They're all
that
screaming, I
want-
want it, I want it, I want it.
And,
Yeah.
and what you, it makes no sense. What you want is have all these companies come into Florida at a certain rate or have them negotiate rates, and then they're going to be going at it to get the customers and give inducements and make it better for sports gamblers instead of just awarding it to one powerful entity. And Seminoles,
How is that even possible that could take place like that?
That makes
I
zero
mean,
sense.
it seems beyond un-American. Speaking of Native Americans, and
because
look,
so many-
I've had favorable dealings with the Seminoles. They treated me.
Oh,
very
I do
well,
too,
but,
and I have nothing. I have nothing.
But like,
I have nothing against them. I want them to have a piece of the pie. I want them to be involved in sports betting.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they do a nice
to
job.
award them exclusive rights is ridiculous. Now, the hang up was the governor cut this deal, which didn't pass any kind of court muster because it was completely against what the state constitution says after that amendment that allowed gambling to expand in the state only if local voters gave approval to it, and allowing sports betting all over the state through an app that could be accessed all over the state basically flew in the face of that constitutional amendment. So whoever comes in and however they want to expand gambling in the way that it's going to be an app, if it's outside of the counties that have already allowed like the expansion of gambling, which is Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. I don't even know if Palm Beach is
Hillsborough. I don't know. Are they involved?
No, I don't. I think the only 3 counties that have allowed it are the 3 down here, and even Palm Beach didn't bring it in yet. It's so confusing that even somebody who was, following it closely all those years, I have no idea what the latest has gone on. And I know this court case, first the judge said that Seminoles can't run an app statewide without, that flies in the face of the Constitution. And I'm not even sure if the legislature could just change the law on its own without voter approval because of that amendment. It's very confusing, and there is a way out of it, and that would entail that the legislature passes laws to basically allow the expansion of sports betting and have competition, or whoever wants to do it, as long as they cut the state in for 20% or whatever the percentage is, and then just have each county do voter approval. And I think at this point in the world, each county, one of the ringleaders against any expansion of gambling in the past was Disney. Talk about irony alert. Now Disney is in the sports gambling business. So all their make-believe opposition of, we're a family-friendly state and it's going to bring crime, all that's out the window because that was all bullshit to begin with. They just didn't want anybody cutting into, their particular, the discretionary tourist revenue. But now that they're in the gambling game, they're going to support it fully. So all those counties up there will approve it. And even the podunk counties up in the north, they've lost their dog tracks because dog racing is no longer allowed in Florida. So they don't know what to do with their money besides scratch off lottery tickets. So they'll even approve it now.
Yeah.
Everybody in the state will approve it. It's wildly popular. The only thing standing in the way is our greedy, stupid, fucked up politicians because they want to keep lining their pockets.
Wow, strong. Your instincts as a political reporter came back right there.
Oh, it's just like get the old juices flowing, like in the
you're-
parking lot of
you're
Burns, baby. Oh, yeah.
Reinvigorated. Yeah, I can't believe you were tapping that chick at the at fabled steakhouse there in Tampa.
It's a good steak, let me tell you. High in iron, and
and then no doubt gave the place a very favorable review for not outing you as a lewd and lascivious.
We skipped the dessert
cretin.
room and we went right to the boom boom.
It's insane. I mean, it always has been, and it never ceases to amaze how backwards we can be here in the state of Florida on all of these things. And that in the end, the wrong people, somebody will benefit, but it won't necessarily be the people of the state.
If
That's
at
for
the
sure.
end of the day it's only the Seminoles that end up getting the rights to do this, I wouldn't be heartbroken because that money at least stays in the state. It's not going to these publicly held corporations where there's stockholders all over the world and they're greedy and they cut corners. The Seminoles, to their big credit, obviously tribal members live here in Florida. I think there's about 2,500 of them, and they get big checks. That is real trickle down economics, because all those Seminoles, they're buying trucks, they're building houses, they're doing things that actually puts money into the local economy. So if their revenue share keeps going up, that actually benefits the whole of Florida, as opposed to when you have these big multinational corporations that are just stockholder driven and stock price driven, and all that money ends up leaving the state. So there is benefit to having the Seminoles be the big winner if they end up with most of the action.
Remember the Disney ads that were anti?
Oh yeah, the stupidest. Vote against it. What you're voting
And
for.
they like the killing of babies, and which one thing would lead to another. Prostitution would be rampant, throughout. I mean, they really laid it on thick. And then wasn't that another one of those confusing Florida ballots where no meant yes and yes meant no?
Yeah.
And then it was a whole fucking thing.
One more thing, and it's a key component of what's happened since the original gambling initiatives passed and got into the state constitution. The legislature, because they're opposed to democracy and very afraid of when voters actually have a say in policy, they changed the threshold so that now if an amendment is on the ballot, it needs 60% approval to pass instead of
there you go.
majority.
That was the thing they shot down in Ohio just recently, right?
Yeah, because
with the abortion laws.
They got hoist on their own petard. Because, but the bottom line is, with that 60% threshold, I still think expansion of gambling and allowing sports betting would pass, because it's become one of those things like marijuana legalization. And
I mean, who isn't doing it? Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want it? It's so much money. It's literally billions of dollars.
And if these betting companies were smart, they would go to the state and say, hey, I see you got a little bit of an insurance company problem there. How about if we put a portion of the kitty of all the funds that our revenues will put aside 3% of all sports gambling revenue into a special insurance pot that goes towards bolstering
now you're really
citizens, and then it could actually cut our insurance rates and premiums. That's never going to happen. But
they don't care.
It's guys like you that are unfortunately hurting the insurance industry here with the desire to go out and purchase a bunch of golf clubs with. I mean, if you didn't use them anyway, should you be able to include them in the? I guess you should get paid.
I lost my property, including golf clubs. I've submitted it in a list that was approved. I got
try writing that off on your taxes. See how the IRS.
Well, no, the insurance money is not taxable. It's not taxable income. It's for a loss. It's covering losses.
I'm only kidding there, Mike.
I know. Well, I get very sensitive.
You're babbling there. I mean, do you have any selections here? Are you looking at this card at Saratoga today? Looks kind of interesting.
Did not look at it. I am so wrapped up in all kinds of things.
What's up with your mother? How's she doing?
She's doing okay. She's back home. There's a lot of follow-up issues that need to be addressed, and the state of our medical system, healthcare system, is about as good as our insurance system, because the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and they do things without explanation, and then it's left upon people to say, why is there still a catheter in my mother?
You can't get an answer from anybody. Nobody wants to answer your questions.
And nobody wants to remove it, even though there's no medical reason for it to be there. I love America. Isn't this the greatest country on earth?
It's insane.
Not really by many metrics, but I can't say that, because then people say, you hate the United States of America, go move somewhere else. And I would rather be no place else than right here in South Florida, going to Gulfstream later today, and I will plunge my guts out at some point.
All right, good. I'm glad you're going to get involved today, because you've been lame of late, and I like it. I mean, when you have a little action going at Saratoga in there in that first race.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, very good. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see him later on today. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, and we'll be out there at Gulfstream Park, 10 Palms Restaurant. Want to stop by and say hello? That'll be great. Joe Beja, what a real, I mean, the food show is terrific from the standpoint of the people that you meet that are in the industry, and you see how dedicated they are to the whole thing and the whole hospitality business and how it works. And there are a lot of different ways, that people approach it. It's absolutely fascinating, especially running into Bert Rappaport when he starts telling stories about the old days here in Miami. And literally, I mean, Gloria Estefan walks in, and she's a nobody at the time, and the house band happens to be, I guess Emilio and whatever.
It was Emilio, another guy, and they weren't the Miami Sound Machine at the time.
They weren't the Miami Sound Machine. They were like the Schmanks or something.
They had a different name, and then they had her just like help them out one night, and the people were like, "Oh, that woman was really good."
Right? Right?
Yeah,
Did she have that song back then in the repertoire?
I think they started.
I don't know. And this is Bert, man. All of a sudden, he's got like the hottest club in town, man. People are lined up like blocks away, hours before they even open to try and get in. All right. We'll see you at 12 o'clock today at Gulfstream Park with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Until next time, we say thanks once again for supporting the programs, and we'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9 o'clock.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.